think this is episode 5.
Lucky number 5.
We have to count. I think we're getting there. We're almost to what we can officially call a handful.
I love it. Hello from LA.
I was going to say, you have some new bling.
I got some Nike bling. I have been in LA since Thursday for the past few days for the Nike After Dark 13.1, the half marathon that they put on. It was really cool. I mean, the whole mission behind the run was to get more women into running, regardless of your athletic ability, body type, whether or not you've done it. And there were a lot of pros and cons of the experience, but overall it was a really inspiring, vibey, cool night race. Start at SoFi, end at SoFi, you run through Inglewood, and it was just really great just seeing all of these different women out there just trying to make it through a run. You had people walking, running, using walking sticks,
awesome.
People who were, adaptive runners with guides.
Yeah.
It was cool. Weather was great. Yeah. 20,000 women, and then a couple of, I guess, allies. So there was like a handful of men running, which I didn't really understand, but I guess they're like allies of women. Okay.
Love it.
Maybe they were doing something for like charity. They were running as well. And then
so more about
Doechii
community
concert.
And support, not, winning awards and
that was my takeaway. However, there were women out there that were really, really PRing, and they trained for this. It was definitely,
how long was it?
It's a half marathon, so 13.1 miles.
Okay.
And my vibe was I was really treating this as a fun run, getting out, doing my thing. That's just my approach to just running and races in general. I don't try to take it too seriously, but there were people out there that were really, going for it. But
and a great opportunity to showcase your new blonde, which looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Tippy has outdone herself.
Oh, I know.
This
There she
blonde.
goes. Second mention on here. Sponsored by Bumble, this thing.
That would be fantastic. Please reach out. Thank you.
But every time I come out here, I kind of get why people live in LA. Like, the weather's just so lovely,
agreeable,
and pleasant. It's great. It's kind of gloomy right now in the mornings, but then it burns off at noon and it's sunny. But
you say that, and I saw on your social media that you spent 2 hours in an Uber trying to get to this race. And LA is notorious for their traffic.
No, I purely for that reason, I don't think I could ever live here. Like, the traffic situations, I feel like it's so cliche to talk about LA traffic, but it's cliche because it's based on truth.
Part of the experience, yeah.
The race so we're recording this on Sunday. The race was last night, and the race time was supposed to start at 6:30. I'm staying in West Hollywood for a variety of reasons. I wouldn't stay up here next time, just given the commute down to literally SoFi, which is a good hour in traffic. So we leave in an Uber, my friend and I, Rachel, we leave in an Uber at, 4:15 to hopefully get there by like 5:30. It
seems like ample time.
A shit show. It was a shit show because we were fighting with all of the street closures around SoFi and Inglewood for said race. So you have that. Then you also had this massive WWE experience event at the Forum, which is next to SoFi. So that was going on. It was so awful. We got in a fender bender with an 80-year-old lady, hit our Uber. Everyone was fine. That was a thing.
Wow.
We ended up having to get out about 2 miles outside of SoFi. So in addition to doing a race,
you had a 2-mile warm up.
We had a 2-mile walk warm up, which we just had to, take matters into our own hands and get.
Yeah.
But the logistics, so that was kind of the downside. The logistics of the race, it was chaotic. There were 20,000 women all trying to get like cattle called into a stadium. Yeah. Bag checks were insane. Bathroom lines. I mean, granted, it's been a minute since I've done a big race. So I think it's like 50% me being old, no patience,
sticker shock,
crowd aversion.
Yeah.
But I think once the race started, like, everyone was, again, in such great spirits. It was just cool being surrounded by only women who were just running this race, and they were so happy to be there. And that was cool. So
yeah, and then you get to go see Doechii at the end. That's amazing.
We didn't. We like pieced out. We're like, I just can't. I do not like. All we were obsessed with was how are we going to get out of this situation as soon as we finish, and how can we get to the Ubers? How can we get back to a hotel? Quick rinse, shower, go out to dinner. So we went to Cicconi's in West Hollywood.
So good, deserved.
That last time I was there was with you.
Treat
For a
yourself. So
10,
good.
10 p.m.
Love it.
filet mignon, rigatoni, bolognese, red wine.
That sounds very, not the meal, the piecing early, which is very on brand.
Yes.
It's reminding me of when we went to Bryan and we wanted to beat the crowds out of that concert. So we left early. And then on our walk home, saw that Bruce Springsteen made a surprise appearance at the concert and we missed it because we were the
That
old
was the
maids who
one
wanted
that,
to get
yeah,
home early.
that was the one that bit me. That one, I thought you were
Yeah.
going to reference Beyoncé, which I thought was an excellent, that was a beautiful example of logistical brilliance.
We
Like, how lovely was
nailed
that
that.
experience? That
We
was
nailed that. Nailed that.
I
But
was so nervous about going into
the
MetLife.
Bruce
Yeah.
was we blew it.
We saw Maggie Rogers,
We
but
did.
we
That was
missed
lovely.
Bruce, and
That
that
was
was
lovely.
cool.
I will say, as far as concerts we've gone to together, which first of all, you were my concert dealer. You notoriously will just text me, call me, be like, hey, I have tickets. Do you want to go? And I will say yes, because why not? So we've done Beyonce, we've done Zach, we've done Taylor. Those three, which are very big three. Of those three, not that you're asking me to rank them, Zach was the least of a performance, which bar is set high by the other two women. Zach just had a square stage that he sort of walked around and stopped at certain points. And so we didn't really feel like we were missing much. Maybe like another lap around the corral. Surprise, Bruce.
Surprise, just drop him. You have to when you go to see like a Zach Bryan, you have to just love the music, the storytelling. You're not
absolutely.
there to be visually entertained. You are there just to sing along. And Beyonce, incredible. And I mean, everything in terms of, to this day, I think that was still the best stage performances I've ever seen in my life. And for everyone, we're talking about Renaissance, not Cowboy Carter.
Not Cowboy Carter. I was 3 months postpartum and I had to pump right before we left and a late night pump when we got back. And it logistically was challenging, but we made it work. There was also a rainstorm right as we parked and were walking to the venue, and we had to huddle in porta potties to wait out the rain. There were some less glamorous moments, and then you got inside and it was the most fabulous people, decked out head to toe. The attire that people had prepared for that concert was phenomenal. And I again, 3 months postpartum, I threw on whatever I could find that fit, and I just was gawking. It was some of the best people watching as compared to Taylor, where it was kind of heartwarming, less like bedazzled amazing, more like, oh my goodness, look at this mom and dad and daughter group all in matching outfits and t-shirts. And it was really, really endearing. And the concert experience itself was, I mean, you don't need to even like mince words about it. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely amazing. And you don't have a voice at the end of the night. And there are people who know every single word to every single song. And it is very impressive. My brain does not reserve space for those things.
Another example of being able to exit the crazy Eras tour in November Toronto cold conditions, and we were still able to speed walk back to our hotel, avoiding crowds. Like, we just have a good way of exiting massive crowd, insane situations.
It also helps, though, that we're both above average height and could see over the gaggles of 12-year-old girls and like weave our way around the crowd. That helped a lot. It really worked out well for us. What's next? What are you going to call me with next? What tickets you got in the horizon?
I don't know. I feel like it might be. We need a good concert warm up.
You know what I missed, which is sad. There's two recent tours that I missed that I was really bummed about. Blink-182, which is very, very old school millennial, but loved it. And Shania Twain. I would have loved to see Shania in a concert. I've seen her in concert twice as a young Stefany. But she just recently toured within like the last year, I think it was. I missed it.
I would do a Blink. That is kind of old school.
Blink's a fun one.
Yeah.
Dashboard Confessional, my husband and I have done several. That was the last, I think it was like March 15th, 2020. We were at a Dashboard concert. When you're like, should we be here? Should we not be here? This feels funny. Are we cool? And we went and we enjoyed it. But then the world shut down.
I don't know. I need some more musical inspiration for the summer. But even like Doechii, like we didn't stick around to see her. She performed for like, I think 3 songs last night, but she performed right at 9:30. And so there was a lot of commentary on like TikTok and the socials, because the only people that I think that were really able to experience and even see Doechii perform after the Nike half last night were, if you finished in the top, I don't know, like 1,000 out of 20,000 runners. So I think if you look at some of the footage, like that's an empty SoFi Stadium, I think she's performing to maybe 1,000 people, and those are like the speedy first 1,000, which I think was kind of a bummer for a lot of people. But like
the first concert in history to ever start on time. I love it.
But it was also like I think it was like a three song thing.
Yeah, just a quick set.
But she's a quick set, quick cool.
All right, so what's next for you? How did your back feel? Did you run? Did you walk? Did you combo?
Both. And so, I think we've been talking a lot about, goal setting, where we are kind of in life. And so for me, getting back into running was a really big deal for me to like reclaim just some sort of like discipline with my body. I've not been able to run for years. I had like back issues and a variety of things. I've always been doing like low impact, like cycling and yogas and all that, and lifting, of course. So for the past like 5 months, maybe 3 to 5 months, I've actually really been serious about training. And so it was always with this goal in mind of being able to like literally complete and do this half marathon. I've done plenty of halves before, so that's not crazy. It's not my first, but it's my first in a very, very long time. A couple weeks ago, I hurt my back, which is a huge bummer. I had to go get x-rays. I went to hospital for special surgery, all of that stuff. So the good news is, again, like nothing seriously wrong. I just got to take it easy. It was also really helpful going into this weekend with, one of my oldest, longest, best friends who has the same type of supportive mentality where she's like, look, let's just have fun. This is an experience, like no pressure. Honestly, like we don't even have to do the race. We can just like hang out in LA and have a great chill weekend and catch up. And so like having that type of mentality going into this was a huge, took a lot of the pressure off. And so we went and I felt great. I was able to do about like half of the race and just feel really strong and good. Yeah. And I got everything out of last night that I wanted to. I mean, I have like crazy stories that I can go into. I don't want to bore the audience, but basically we ended up kind of like finishing a little bit behind like all of these elites. And so it was hilarious because people thought that we were part of this elite runner group, and that Rachel was my coach and my pacer because I looked all serious and I'm like my all black on, my vest on. It was amazing. And so we kind of felt like, oh my God, like we're like frauds. Like we really didn't like run with the elites the whole time.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter. But it was a really good race. I felt strong. I felt good. The day after, I'm sore, but like I'm not injured. I feel fine. And so that's the best case scenarios is coming out of this race, and physically feeling strong, physically feeling not injured, that I came here, I accomplished this, I did this, and it was good. And so, I think it's a lot of lessons that I've learned, especially in the past, 18 months is, the minute you think you're in control, or the minute you think that surprise things happen, and you just have to pivot and roll with changing your goals, adapting your goals.
Being flexible. I think
it's just I feel like rewrote my 2025. I've rewrote my 2025 like vision goals and things that I'm working on, I think 3 times since like December, because there have been so many continued shifts and pivots, whether it's job wise, career wise, health, personal things. So it's like you have your goals and you think you want to manifest and work towards, but those shift based on, I don't know,
as they should. You have to have that flexibility. I feel like if you aren't flexible with yourself and where you are, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's not going to go well. And I think I was having this conversation the other day with someone that in our 20s, there was so much of, someone would come to you and say, oh, I want to go out on a date with this guy, or I'm thinking about taking this new job. And a lot of the time the response would be like, great, like give it a shot. Nothing's permanent. Do it for a year, see what happens, kind of thing. And as you get older in your 30s and 40s, that you stop hearing that as often, but it's still so true. Like nothing is permanent. You can change your mind. You can try something, and not to say quit things after you try them and try a million things, but you don't have to feel stuck ever, in a way that gives me a bit more freedom personally when I'm trying to set goals and do things where I'm like, I want to try jujitsu. I'm not going to try jujitsu. I just had shoulder surgery. That would be foolish. But where I have the flexibility to say, hey, I want to try jujitsu. If I don't love it, or if it doesn't feel right in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever amount of time I give it, it's okay. It's not permanent. I'm not suddenly committed to getting a black belt. I think a big thing for me is setting these kind of small goals where it's like, do, Peloton for 1 week straight. Not I need to work out 5 days a week for the next 6 months, but 1 week. What can I achieve in this 1 week? And setting those small goals that are really realistic for me is much, much easier for my brain to process, especially with ADHD, and helps me to feel like I'm actually accomplishing things. Because that's the biggest challenge for me personally, at least. If I set a goal and then I don't achieve that goal, I'm like, well, then why bother? Like this is an uphill battle now. I blew it. Why bother? But if I can set small goals that I actually see myself achieving, it builds my confidence so that I'm able to set bigger goals and aim higher. So
Yeah.
having that flexibility, I think, is so incredibly important.
It is. I don't know. It's like I want to be able to practice what I preach, and all of that you're saying. I'm like, yep, that sounds good. Yep, that sounds good. And I think a very real thing that I struggle with is I know what I want. Let's just say from a professional capacity, I know what I want, and you know, you work hard to get there, and you do everything that's right on paper to get there, and it's still, I want to say it's still not happening. It's taking longer to get there than I think I would have hoped. Without going into too
Specifically
many,
professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. I want to be the head of marketing for a women's sports team. And so in order to do that, there are a lot of steps that I need to take in order to get to that position, which I am taking. But there's just a lot of there's just so many unknown factors and things that are completely out of your control, despite having either strong relationships or having really great experience or interviewing well. And, there's just things that are out of your control in terms of...
Dream role. Which women's sports team or league would you like to be the head of marketing for?
I would love to work the NWSL. One of the soccer... I mean, that's the most unbelievably natural fits for me, not only from a personal perspective, but also from I
love that for you.
Experience perspective, and bringing, I think, fresh thinking to growing the business of women's sports and building up a fandom and working with the community and just really bringing a very social, digital brand building, I think, essence to a team like that, and understanding what it's like to build one of the most valuable franchises in the world. So
great. Women's soccer, if you're listening.
There's some conversations that are happening, but yeah.
Stephanie's ready. Give her a call.
Yeah.
Slide into our DMs.
I'm in the mix for a couple of things, but yeah, here we go. I think that the goal, the whole conversation on goals, on career, on life is just, it's so meaty. And there's so many different ways to kind of get in there, but I don't know. Definitely been something
I grew up
working through
with a dad who is a life coach and tried his darndest to instill goal setting and the importance of goal setting in me and my siblings. And that lovely speech I gave about goals, that is where I've landed. I don't personally write down goals. I'm not someone who, puts pen to paper and says, these are my goals for the year, these are my goals for the week, whatever amount of time it is. I understand the value of that, and I understand that works for a lot of people. That's just not something that I've ever done. I don't know.
It's
I feel like
surprising. I find that surprising for you.
I know. But surprise, I don't write down my goals. I feel like maybe I'm just so chatty and so open, and so I just talk about whatever it is that I'm trying to do so often. Like, I don't know, my crochet. Right now, I'm still very heavily into crochet. I'm learning. So I've mastered my magic ring and my chain stitch, which are two very basic stitches, but I just keep going back and like undoing my stitch and redoing my stitch and undoing it so I can like understand and get the motor skills down. But maybe that's why I don't write them down, because I am just like talking about them all the time. I don't know.
So what were your goals? So when you think about this year, I can't believe we're in June. We're halfway through the year. When you were thinking about, we were together on New Year's Eve. Weren't we this year? Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
What were your goals for the year? Besides what I feel like has become very clear is you becoming more attuned to your own health and wellness, and becoming
that was my big
an expert in your body.
I want to get to know my body better. That was my big goal for the year, my big intention for the year. And I feel like I've done a fantastic job of that thus far.
What have you learned about your body? What have you learned?
My glasses. I need my glasses.
Okay, glasses.
I learned that I sleep better when I go right to sleep. I'm not someone who can read or scroll in bed. I need to lay my head down as soon as my head hits the pillow. That's when I get my deep sleep. I've learned that about myself. So the ring has really helped me with tracking that. I've learned a lot about my cycle, which I'm happy to get into in detail. If we want to have a whole episode about my cycle, we can really just get into the nitty gritty. Again, a lot of that has been with my ring, which has been really nice. I also learned a lot about my teeth, my dental. So I need to now get, I think I mentioned this, I got to have the prescription sensitive toothpaste, but I also apparently grind my teeth. So I have to get some night guards. We're working on those. So there's a lot I've learned. And I mentioned we got the glucose monitors. So we're going to start using those soon and learn about our blood sugar. So there's a lot of things that I've learned about my body that I think just generally I want to be someone who, not to be the the woman who cried IVF, but we started our journey later, our family planning journey later. And I am now 40, going on 41, and have a 2-year-old and an almost 4-year-old. So there's a post going around social media now about, if you want to be in your 40s with a kindergartner, that's up to you. And I'm like, that's me. So I'm also trying to be very conscious about, I want to be someone who has energy and is around and not just around, but like healthy and energetic and can play with my kids and be there for their hopefully grandkids in the future. I'm aware of that. Like I'm aware that we got started a little later. That means I'm going to be a little older at all steps of the process. So I really want to get to know my body better now. So it's not 20 years down the road and I'm like, oh shoot, should have done that. You know what else I learned? Oh my gosh. This week I learned that, and maybe this is news to other people, 40% of cancer in people over 30 is considered preventable.
Say that again, 30%?
40% of cancer, adult cancer, so people over the age of 30, is considered preventable by no smoking, wearing sunscreen, cutting back on drinking, exercise, like so many small little things. 40%. That's nearly half of all adult cancer is considered preventable with just little lifestyle changes.
Yeah, that the skin cancer, like that's been, like I've a lot more people in my world, friends, family, have had issues with all of that lately in terms of like getting different, I said, what happens before melanoma, like the different moles cut out and I mean, sunscreen, wear your sunscreen.
Sunscreen, take care of your body, cut back on drinking, no smoking. No smoking to me is still a funny one because it seems like we all know that by now, but there are still people who smoke.
Yeah,
you pick your vices. It's never been a vice of mine, so it still blows my mind.
I don't think I literally don't think I've ever had a drag of a cigarette. Maybe I've like had one in my mouth when I was like in college or something, but it's just, I've just never smoked. Never,
I did
not part of my world.
When I went to a wedding in Spain, and it was like this super snazzy wedding, and they had a cigarette bar because we were at a European wedding, and I was like, I have to. Like, it was a literal when in Rome moment, and I accidentally grabbed a menthol cigarette, and I didn't like it. It did not go well.
No, but yeah, I mean, getting to know your body, the health thing, it's huge. Definitely been on, obviously, a health body journey with my back and running and just getting really, fit and healthy again, which I've always been fit, but like a different, I guess a different type of fit for me. I don't know. I've also been just like my goal, again, to have adapted and really changed over the past couple of months. Now my goal is really being okay with living completely in the gray and trying to be comfortable with the unknown, which is so hard. Be okay with everything being out of my control and like.
How are you doing that? That's like, teach me.
It's hard, but again, like there's just been, I guess I also use this the two main lens, and we can get into all of this deeper down the road with future pods, but the two main lens with which I look at that through are, number one, career stuff and career opportunities, what's happening there, and then two, even like my fertility journey, like two things that you think you can control, but they're completely out of your control. And even like something as specific as jobs and interviewing.
Well, but sorry, haven't you heard? You can just manifest a baby. If you just think happy thoughts, you can get pregnant. God. So
I can't even handle that. It's like so triggering.
That's all it takes nowadays. You just think happy thoughts.
Oh, I thought it was a baby dance. I thought you did like a baby dance in your.
You know what? You might be right. I think while you're thinking the happy thoughts, you have to do the baby dance.
Praying to the fertility gods and
and then you don't even have to wait 9 months. It just shows up, which is it's amazing.
I heard about that.
It's amazing.
Great. I think I've heard about that. But yeah, it's just like living with things just completely out of your control. And I don't know.
Is it a focus? I mean, or maybe you're in the process of it, so you don't even know. I feel like, because I feel like that's something that everyone needs to be better at. And in my mind and in my world, I always try to put more of a focus on the things I can control. And I also hear myself hear myself talking to my kids, and I'm like, oh, if I'm telling my kids this, I have to be able to do this as well. Like when, Harry's screaming and Emerson's like, stop, it's hurting my ears, it's hurting my ears. I have to say, if he's not stopping, that's really annoying, but you can only control yourself. So what are your options here? If he's going to keep screaming, you can
Yeah,
cover
of
your
course.
ears, you
Like you
can,
have that. Like the one that you control is like how you react to situations. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
but I can say it to my almost 4-year-old. Am I actually doing it? Like it's so much easier to teach someone else to do it
yeah.
than it is to do it yourself and to hear your own
Something for
words.
me is, and I think I've mentioned this before, I now I think in terms of being okay with like living in that messy way, things are out of control, is being okay with being angry and just letting myself be like feel the feelings, like be mad, be angry, throw shit at a wall, do whatever you need to do, allow yourself to feel that and be angry and then move
Mm-hmm.
forward. And I have a tendency to not want to sit in the muck, and I have a tendency to not want to sit in the anger because I hate feeling that way, and I like just kind of brush it aside and move forward when and busy myself with other things. And so I TBD on if that's helping or working, because then now I'm just like angry all the time sometimes because I just
Yeah.
realize that there's a lot of things that I am, frustrated about, but I think that's a healthy part of, I don't know, processing emotion. So maybe I'm just a 40-year-old later in life figuring out how to process emotions. So that's a thing.
I mean, anyone who thinks that they know how to fully process emotions, I would love to have them on our podcast so I could learn from them because I think we are all in a forever journey of learning how to process our emotions. And I am horrible. I have, crazy outbursts of anger, but I also have crazy outbursts of sadness and happy tears and laughter. Like my emotions come on strong no matter where they are on the spectrum. Whatever I'm feeling, it
Yeah.
will kind of gurgle and then it will just explode. And it's true for anything. It's not just anger. It's, anger, happiness, sadness. I've always been someone who feels. I am a
It's also
feeling
this idea
person.
of memory and like what we were talking about earlier. So what I was just about to say is, a couple of months ago, I read the book by Amy Griffin. It's called Griffin or Griffith Griffin, called The Tell.
Okay.
And it is a really, powerful memoir that she wrote about basically her remembrance and her remembering things that had happened in her childhood that she had just completely suppressed, had completely disassociated with. And then
Yeah.
she's always known these things. And then later in life, she kind of remembers thanks to, some psychedelic intervention. I think it was like, what did she use? It's like ketamine. I think she was doing ketamine, or I should have done research on exactly what she was using, but she was doing some sort of medicated, drug therapy to help her process her trauma. And I won't reveal anything, so it's a good story, but it made me think about, like, I don't know, as we get older, this is also a conversation I was having this weekend. You start to either like remember things that maybe you have forgotten or put in a box from, I don't know, your 30s, your 20s, growing up. And it could be as serious as what Amy talked about in her book, which was very traumatic, or it could be having different, memories of growing up. Like, you were using your reference of, within your family, just going through a moment in time, and you have, like, it's a lived experience and a shared experience, but your experience is so different from other people. Like, we could go through a weekend, we could go through COVID, we could go through these things together, and your interpretation of that experience is completely
Totally.
different than mine.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So my siblings and I'm one of 4 kids, and we were texting over the weekend, and one of my siblings had no memory of our whole family, all the kids, being taught to do laundry and responsible for our own laundry. She thought she had learned, in college or later in her own life, and the rest of the siblings were like, "No, we all did our own laundry. What are you talking about?" And it's all the same lived experience. We're in the same house, same parent, same, but you see it from your own lens. And I think, we had a video that went viral on TikTok recently, and we saw a lot of that in the comments where we were talking about the AIDS crisis during the 80s. And there were a lot of people in the comments who said that's not at all how it happened. This is not true. And then there were also a lot of people in the comments that said, I was there. This is exactly how it happened. Thank you for sharing. And you just see things through your own lens. And I think, my husband and I were talking about this not during COVID, but it was actually January 6th, I think it was. There was someone who was arrested after January 6th, and they were being interviewed by the FBI, and they broke down in tears and said, I thought we were the good guys. And it's so wild that from a certain perspective, this one side thinks that it's one thing and one side thinks that it's another. And it's not a, a different version of history. It's just, that's how you remember it. That's what you personally experience. And I'm so curious to see, I remember when I asked my grandparents to tell me about the Great Depression for a school project, and that's going to be us and our kids asking us about what was the pandemic like? What was it like living during the pandemic? And there's going to be very different versions of that story depending on who you're asking. There are some people who were oppressed and thought masks and vaccines were the end of the world and, just terrible. And there were other people who think that masks and vaccines saved a lot of the country. And it's just, whoever you ask, you're going to get a very different version of that history and that story. And I think it's just so interesting that we often forget that we're living through our own perceived lens.
Yeah.
And everything that brought us here.
Reality, I mean, we're really dead right now, right? Just like in Lost. So,
we could be.
Actually, I use that reference. I haven't even seen Lost. I don't even know why I even just said that. But that's, sorry, spoiler alert. That's the whole end of the show, right? They're really just.
Is it? I don't know. I've never seen it either.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's maybe the wrong kind of referencing quote to use. But basically, that was like the mic drop was this entire show was these people are actually dead. And everyone's like, what?
I thought that was just The Sixth Sense. Is that also Lost?
Oh, no. So weird one. But yeah. The whole kind of
I think that
thing.
It's also very interesting how true that is with self-image, that the way I see myself, the way you see yourself is not the way I see you. Like, you notice things about your own face, your own body that I would never notice. I notice different things about your face and body, or, the way I see myself is not the way other people would see me. And I think just understanding that is a really, really difficult thing to wrap your head around, that what you think is happening in, when you walk into a room is usually not what's actually happening. Like, I know everyone's not turning their heads to look at you because you posted a picture on social media with cilantro on your teeth. Like, no one else is noticing those things.
Oh my God.
But you don't even realize that people's perception of you is completely different than what you think is going on. And yeah, sometimes it might be worse, sometimes it might be better, but who's to say what is better and worse about, self-image and what you're seeing in your own eyes. But your own perception of reality is also true for yourself, I guess, is the bigger point that I'm trying to say.
But speaking of perception of reality in people, the PSA is, if you are with people, regardless of how well you know them, and they have something in their tooth that is just profoundly out there, please tell them. No one thinks you're rude. It's not weird. It might feel awkward.
Especially before the picture.
Oh my God, I'm just laughing about it. So I was with friends this weekend who I had met, and we're online friends who met for the first time in person, and I'm with them for an hour. I'm just coming in hot, gabbing about all the things, and we leave, we take a picture, and I'm zooming in. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. You were talking to me, you guys, for an hour, and no one told me I literally had this massive piece of cilantro
front and
on
center
my tooth from a sandwich. It's like, it's okay. Just be like, hey, stop here, right here.
Yeah.
No big deal. Oh my God, I was dying. I was laughing. It was hilarious, but that's my PSA. Tell someone.
I try to tell people. Often when I see stuff. I'm that person. I'm super awkward about it. I probably involve myself in situations I don't need to be involved in, but
crazy.
It's my jam. It's my thing.
So what else is going on? What else have you been seeing on the talks, on the socials?
You know what? A couple weeks ago, you asked me if Hailee and Josh had gotten married yet, and I can now confirm that they have gotten married. But here's something that bothers me.
Clarify who Hailee and Josh are.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
For anyone who knows.
Hailee Steinfeld and Josh Allen. Musician, actress, and Buffalo Bills star quarterback, which a few episodes ago I was wearing a Bills sweatshirt, and so they came up in conversation, so now can confirm that they have officially gotten married. But it irks me, and I don't get caught up in celebrity stuff. I don't really care. I love it. I'm glad that people are finding their people, so happy for them. It irks me that the first photos that were released on, at least it was what I saw on social media, I kept scrolling because I didn't want to engage, were very obvious, super far away, snuck into the venue paparazzi photos on what was obviously supposed to be a very private occasion. And someone found out where they were going to be, snuck in. And I'm like, I get that's part of, you're a celebrity, but it's just so icky. It's so icky.
Yeah,
and they've since released official pictures. They've released their own official pictures, and please engage with those and look at those. But the whole paparazzi thing really is so, and I get it. I understand it, but it just always, ugh.
I thought you were going to say, all the commentary on Kylie Jenner coming clean on her exact specifications for her seemingly perfect boob job. Did you see all that? And so,
I did, yeah. And now
honestly,
other people are
they
following
look
suit.
great. More power to her, but she did the exact recipe for the amount of
her doctor's now getting swarmed with requests and had to say, hey, thank you, but each client is different. I'm not giving you this exact
get
thing.
on board the Kylie Timothée, like what I guess opposites attract, but I think we've talked about this, like he just feels like he should, I don't know, be with some super cool French Parisian girl with dimension and not
I don't know. I mean,
Jenner,
I don't.
who comes across, maybe she's very multidimensional and very well read and very intellectual. I think she speaks one language, he speaks five. I don't know. Maybe he's just a boob guy. I don't know. But I just wonder what that is, because
I've never been able to get on board the Kardashian train. I could name them, but I don't know them well enough to know anything about them. I know that they're everywhere. I know that their pictures are everywhere, and they seem to be quite smitten. Who knows?
They're just,
but I also,
it's everywhere because the Knicks were in the playoffs and he was sitting front row, so she was super visible, and then they were doing the whole, I don't know. They've just been in my social orbit that I've been seeing. So I'm just like,
it's that their whole family feels very disingenuous and very just I don't want to say manipulated, but just like curated. That's the word I'm going for. It seems like they're every step, every relationship, everything is creating an image that is clearly working for them and doing incredibly well for them. It could be genuine. It could be.
Kim knew what she was doing with Skims, though. I'm a Skims fan.
Are you?
Never bodysuits.
Never been inside them.
Bras, kind of some underwear. If she do some collection, I don't know. So, girl, depending on how involved she is, I think she's, I don't know, relatively involved.
I can't keep track of all their brands.
Headquarters on Sunset.
One of them just launched a popcorn. They have
protein popcorn. Chloe. Yeah.
They've got so much going on.
There's protein water now. I mean, I'm a protein girly and I love all that stuff, but like that's just insane. Protein water, disgusting.
I guess a lot of people feel like they're lacking in protein. They need more protein. Get it wherever you can.
You got to do it. I know it's a lot. I don't know. And then just what else am I seeing? Julianne Hough and her egg freezing journey.
Yeah.
I love her. I've always been a fan of hers. I don't know. I've kind of always liked her. And so I appreciated her just being, I don't know, continuing to be open and sharing. And there's just been such a movement of, I feel like, women that I've been seeing on TikTok and Instagram sharing their egg freezing journey at multiple stages in life, whether they're, don't have a partner and it's like they want to, bank their insurance policy to be able to have their own kids later, or maybe they're sick, or maybe they do have a partner and they're married, but the timing just isn't right. And now they're educated and it's becoming more normalized. And I don't know how I would have felt earlier, but I wish that this had been a little bit more of a conversation years ago, and that even companies and insurance providers are just part of the insurance process. I think I would have thought a little bit differently about maybe, I don't know, having kids or family planning in a way that like I would have never thought about before.
I agree. I think I will encourage my daughter to, and obviously our house is very open about these conversations, so it's not going to be new to her when she is that age. But I would encourage anyone who has the means, the insurance coverage, when they get to an age where they have, their peak health, to consider freezing their eggs so that they have the flexibility to discuss and explore family planning when they are ready. And it's not something where, and I think the conversation is changing a whole lot around a biological clock. But I also still think that the biological clock is a very real thing. You can't explore having kids naturally at 50 as well as you can when you're 30 or 20 or whatever age. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's a very important conversation, and people being open and talking about it more openly is incredibly, incredibly beneficial. And if there's anyone in our orbits who has frozen their eggs, Stefany and I have both done IVF, but I guess it's like the cousin of freezing your eggs. I would love to hear about that experience and what that's like, and a personal story.
Well, we've done a retrieval. So we've retrieved the eggs and used them for immediate IVF, but it's not like retrieving the eggs and banking them for future use. It just, similar but different in terms of life planning and process. And
we both did that when we already had our current partners.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the egg freezing stuff, it happens, or I mean, from stories that I've heard, is people who don't have a partner yet or don't, know what their future looks like and want to just have eggs ready for when they have more of a definitive look into their future and some clarity.
I think we'll
I
go
would love
into
to
more
know.
of
I would
that.
love.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're starting to, talk to some people about kind of coming on and not like interviewing, but just like guests for these conversations.
Sharing stories the way we
yes,
share stories.
yes,
Otherwise, you guys are just going to keep hearing about our IVF and our professional stories, which we need to get into more of as well. You know what realization I came to recently? By recently, I mean over Memorial Day when my kids were off Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. I have known forever in my life that I was meant to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I knew I loved being a mom. There is not a fiber of my being that was made to be a stay-at-home mom. Very different. Very, very different things, being a mom and being a stay-at-home mom. A stay-at-home mom, full-time on, full-time in charge of your kids, full-time present there, caretaking, feeding, responding. I'm getting heated even just thinking. It is so much.
It's the hardest job in the world. That is God's work. I can't even imagine doing that and then homeschooling. Like, how is that even possible? That people have the patience, first of all, I never would even trust myself. I barely trust myself to teach Max to ride a bike.
But you got a taste of it. You and all the parents during the pandemic who suddenly were in a position, at least Max was younger, but there were parents who were like, oh, no, I didn't sign up for this. I'm full-time working. I can't teach my child who's now, or my multiple children who are now home with me 24/7. I have to entertain them, continue their education, continue my job. Like,
insane. I know.
It's so much. It's so much. I have a friend that I want to bring on here to tell us how she does it as a stay-at-home homeschool mom. I mean, I have to check with her schedule because she's a saintly woman, and I think you have to
She is a saintly woman if she does all that. That is crazy.
I'm honestly sweating right now. It's making me sweat.
It's
so much work. It's so much work, and being a mom in general is so much work. Being a stay-at-home mom is varsity level motherhood. Like the AP course of motherhood. It is just, not everyone is qualified to do it. You can't. Not everyone can do it. I could do it. I would do it very poorly. I would do it so poorly. I could do it. Everyone can do it. But I would do some irreparable damage to my children if I was forced into a position to do that. And my children do not need to be damaged any further than I'm already doing. And I'll find out about in 20 years.
Crazy. This is a really random segue and tangent, but something else I was thinking about being out here in LA is, what do people do here for work? People are just, I got here on Thursday night, and I woke up Friday morning and whatever. We went to the pool, Rachel and I were at the pool. It's 1:00 on a Friday. Pool is packed. I walked down past Equinox, I don't know, at 4:00 on a Thursday. Gym is unbelievably crowded. Coffee shops filled up everywhere, and they're not even on their computer. They're just kind of literally sitting on their iPhones with their dog, people watching. But this is literally answer me. That's what do people do in LA? I know that people work here because I have friends who actually work at, have legit roles, let's say at, Amazon,
well, let's get them on the
Nike's,
podcast.
Beyond.
Speak for
I want to know,
themselves.
what are all these indie people? Venice Beach, I'm walking and it is just packed. So I don't know. That's a random.
I think that every time
stay-at-home mom, I'm always wondering what.
Every time I run a random errand
for work,
and there's other people in the store, I'm I know why I'm here, but why are all of you here? It's Tuesday at 11 a.m. Why are you here? It's such a weird. And you're but I'm here, so it's okay that they're there, right? It's so weird. I always wonder that.
The air wands are pop in at noon, and yeah, okay, maybe you're there getting lunch, but the people
How much did you spend on a smoothie this weekend?
I actually have not gotten a smoothie. I did a smoothie bowl, and surprisingly, I only went there twice. And Erewhon's cool, whatever. That's a great, great healthy experience. It's not as, I used to really get into the lore and the hype of it, but I go down the granola aisle, and all the granolas there are basically the same things I get where I am in upstate New York. So yeah, there's really no cachet there. The fresh food is good, the smoothie situation, the smoothie bowls. I'm into all of that. I'll do it.
I need a smoothie right now to just bring my temperature down after that stay-at-home mom rant.
Yeah,
my ring's gonna yell at me. I saw that your watch told you that you should rest right before you started your half marathon.
Well, here's the other thing is what I failed to tell you at the beginning of our chat is that Saturday morning I went for a shakeout run.
Okay.
And that shakeout run was a nice little 5-miler on the beach.
A little
So in
test
addition to
drive.
doing the race in the evening, we did a little 5-miler in the morning.
And you're
So
feeling
I'm sure
good?
that's kind of why. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I
maybe
love
resting my
that.
body for 2 weeks like really, really helped. But I mean, I'm sore, but I'm not injured and I feel good. I'm going to chill today and then fly home on Tuesday.
Well,
Got
cheers to
some
not
seeing
being
some good
injured, I
people
think.
coming up. Seeing
Who's
some
coming?
LA
Who's
friends.
visiting? Oh, you're seeing people this week. You're
Mostly
still in LA. That's right. You're still in LA.
I'm still in LA, and then tomorrow I will be, which is Monday. I have some good work meetings, a couple of coffees, and just seeing some people from my professional world out here that
Networking
I'm looking
queen.
forward to. Yeah, it's good. It's good to, I mean, I love, it's good to reconnect and see people in person when you can versus always
Yeah.
texting, calling, Zoom. So a couple
You really
of
are. You are a
business things
fantastic
out here that'll be good.
networker. And I feel like we should wrap this up, but maybe next week you can explore a bit of your networking tips because I feel like people could
Yeah.
learn a lot from what you do
Oh,
and the
well, thank
circles you
you.
keep. You're great at
Thank
it.
you.
You're so good at
It's
it.
important. But yeah, the career journey stuff is a meaty topic for everyone. Nothing bad. It's just, I think it's something that honestly a lot of us have been going through over the past couple of years of figuring out where we are, where we want to be, how to get there, and navigating it all. So,
Yeah, I did that 14 years ago was my journey. So I'm sure there's another one in my future,
career
but yeah,
episode coming
let's
up.
chat about it. Dun, dun, dun,
Um,
dun. Well, go stretch. Go give yourself a little self-care moment. Give Rachel a hug and safe travels back home
I'm
when you
going
make
to
your
go.
way.
Yeah, I'm
She's
doing
gone
all the
already?
LA things. Yeah, she's gone. But I'm doing a
Oh.
manicure, pedicure. I need to go foot massage
Oh yeah,
today.
all the self-care.
Big Forma is a place where I might be getting a facial tomorrow, a quick little facial.
Great.
All the
Love that
things.
for
It is
you.
such a treat to be here solo, doing all the things before
Shout
I
out
head
to
home to the
Craig for
cast.
holding down the fort.
Shout out to the man at home.
The man and the little man. All right. Well,
Good
Mazel, you did
check-in.
great. Love the new necklace. Love the new sweatshirt.
Like a bling. Yeah,
Love that you're not injured.
yeah, this is good. Nike. This is my Nike race medal. So instead of a
It
medal, they have
suits you.
these
It fits.
reflective, these really cool
Yeah.
reflective necklaces, which I'm so on board for. I'm on board for all of the merch, limited edition gear. Give it to me. Love it. Good
Until
job,
the next
Nike.
race.
Adios.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.